All right, thanks everybody. Welcome to our week 4 of our onboarding project here to get you guys up and running with, as we said at the top of every call, we want to get you up and running with full visibility into marketing sales cycle, where leads are at as they transition to deals, and then close the loop with end-to-end reporting on where your lead sources are coming from. And good to see everybody's faces this morning. But I see Chris has joined us. Chris, I haven't seen you since our kind of earliest calls. Good to see you. Okay, you're muted, but anyway.
Sorry. Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just, coming in. Just wanted to be a fly on the wall, see how things are going. So I'll just be on mute the whole time. Don't worry.
Okay. All right, excellent. Let's just run through real quick status of the things that we are working on. As everybody knows, like week 4, our target for this week was to, or is this week to, have fully mapped out data from the sales teams, everybody's individual spreadsheet and the sales leader's spreadsheet, have that mapped into HubSpot properties that align with the data model and the reports that we need to generate. And then next week we would move into, after that, cleaning the data and getting the data moved in, kind of second phase of the project. So where we are at with my status notes here from last time is, so far from the sales team, we've got 3 spreadsheets. We're still waiting on 4 more spreadsheets from the sales reps from week 1. And we have the basic, like, high level reports, kind of the basic template reports that we showed you ready for dashboards that we've looked at. But we are also still waiting on Teresa's spreadsheet, which has most of the sales report templates and things that everybody is using right now. That's where the reports that she screenshots for the weekly emails come from. We don't have that from Teresa. She's on vacation this week, and so was busy last week. So we have not been able to get that from her yet. So we've started on the data modeling, which was week 2, with the 3 out of 7 spreadsheets we have, but we also don't have the roll up reporting from Teresa that we need. The data mapping for this week, we can do a little bit to get started on that, but we're still, we still need all of those inputs. So,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Oaks, is it? I thought we were doing this as like a, lead management, trying to grow sales with this project. I'm not hearing any of that. So I know I was going to be like just kind of fly on the wall, but we're investing a lot of money here. A lot of people are spending a lot of time, and like, I don't know if you could give me the quick 30-second rundown of that part and how we're doing there. And I'll promise to be out of your hair after that.
Yeah, sure. Happy to do that. The issue that we are running into is right now, the lead inflow is still emails being delivered to the individual sales reps, and they are copy pasting into their spreadsheets. And so, like, we are, prioritizing getting the system set up so that that automation, instead of going to email to copy paste a spreadsheet, goes into the CRM. And that pipeline breaks down if we don't have all of the data fields mapped and everything. So we're working on that so that it's ready, right? Like we want those leads to the lead sources are like the pitcher, and we want the CRM to be the catcher, just like ready for exactly the right pitch. And we just don't have all of that data from the sales team. And so the lead volume is up as we're sort of kicking those efforts off, but it's all bottlenecked at their spreadsheets still. And so we're trying to get, we're trying to get what we need to kind of build that out to get the catcher ready for those pitches.
Okay. I always thought our sales team was the catcher. So do we really need to be, spending time on spreadsheets? Is that really like, I feel like we've got good salespeople. They close. We've got lots of leads. Like, I'm just not clear on what the disconnect is here. And I hear a lot of, data modeling and CRM. This is my experience with CRMs. Like, this is like can get in the way of the sales team and like closing deals. And I'm just hearing a lot of that. We're 4 weeks in. The sales team doesn't understand like why things are, taking long, why they got to keep showing up with spreadsheets. And like, meanwhile, you know, they've got deals to close. So maybe you can help me understand. Maybe we need to schedule a different kind of, follow up here, but I have some concerns on the direction that, that this stuff is going in.
Yeah. Understood. I hear you. We are, what we are trying to do here is run our process that we use to make sure that the CRM is set up so that it gives the sales team leverage instead of, if it's not set up to give them all the tools they need, like the spreadsheets that they've kind of evolved, then we find that they just don't use it and they fall back to their spreadsheets. And then we're in the same boat we were when we started this, which is everybody's numbers are different and all the reporting is based on gut and it all is copy and paste or manually typed into Teresa's spreadsheet. And then the reports have to wait until, she has the data from all of the sales reps and then she sends out the report versus it being instantly ready. So, we're trying to kind of take care of this foundation that, so that we start strong, and instead of like the kind of ad hoc situation that's evolved over the last 5 years with the reps kind of all doing their own thing. And so we're trying to make sure that like we have a real smooth handoff there.
Okay. Yeah, I think I kind of get what you're talking about, but I think I'll, won't interrupt this meeting further, but I think we'll, the rest of the team, we should have another conversation about this, and have get some internal alignment of what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah. And I'm happy to schedule some time to, 30 minutes or something to connect in more detail with you if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but I think we've got some internal conversations to have, and if you don't mind, we'll handle that, and
okay,
and we'll come back to you.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
And scene.
Oh, thank God, that was. Oof.
I feel it's like, are we getting better or worse at these?
We're getting better because I was sweating and I know what we're doing. My goodness.
Oh man. And that moment right there, like what we're going to talk about today, like if you don't get out in front of that next conversation, that internal alignment conversation, like the project is going to come out of that conversation completely different.
Yeah.
And
if you're lucky, if the project comes out of that conversation, it's going to be pretty different. It might not make it out of the conversation.
Right. And like, because that conversation has all these different voices, and what we've been talking about with the value creator stage is everybody on that call has been creating value. likely has been doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing to get this project as it relates to their role. And then an executive comes in, hasn't heard what they wanted to hear, hasn't heard anything at all, maybe in the first month, is just looking for a status update, and then
Right.
doesn't hear any of the words that they're looking for because none of those words are ready to be said.
Right.
Um, Even though this whole thing is in service of the goal, right? This is a little bit of what I talk about when I say like things like unified customer views and value path, like allow you to explain HubSpot without explaining HubSpot to people that don't care about HubSpot, right? Finding ways to use words that, like, yeah, we're taking care of that. That's this part of this project. And the earlier we can start communicating that, the more likely we are to avoid situations like that, where even though, if we think about it from managers and individual contributors and executives, two of those groups have been creating value for a month straight,
Right.
right? But they, and like, I think a lot of our job as consultants and coaches is to help them tell the story to the executive team that it's going well. We are creating value. Here's how it translates into the value you want to see. And if nobody's doing that translation, which is pretty hard to do in the
Yeah.
moment if you're not prepared for it. And that's where, if we as a practitioner, like, help you understand, like, these are the stages of the journey, and we're in value created right now, and we have this group and this group and this group, and this is what value means to them. You can plan for this like so far in advance,
Yeah.
right? And give everybody one liners, clips, videos, whatever you need to say, hey, yep, here's what we're doing. Executive, um, like, everything's gonna be fine. Uh,
Yeah.
it's hard, it's impossible to do that in the moment when you don't see it coming, unless you've been doing this for like 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And the other angle is like, as in the scene there, like we are talking about a service provider, right? And what a service provider does is execute a project, and sometimes those projects, it's they are unique. You've crafted the project plan for the situation from scratch, and sometimes you are running a templated project that is very similar, 80% similar from run to run. But either way, your mindset is typically, we have this stated goal, and here are the steps that we need to get there. And that is like an execution framing, not a value oriented framing of saying, like, and it's going to be different from case to case, service provider. But if your value frame is like clean data, good reporting, people using the system, right? And those are assigned, instead of assigning necessarily like action items to a stakeholder on the call, but we are working toward the clean data stage. And that means give us your spreadsheet so that we can model it and we can map it and we can clean the old stuff out. And develop the migration or the import strategy, whatever, right? Um, the It means you don't have to throw Teresa under the bus, right? Sometimes, and it means that all of those things, hey, those 4 sales reps who have been asked every week in their one-on-one, in theory, by the sales manager, hey, send them your spreadsheets, put them in the Google Drive or whatever, are like, I'll get around to it, but I'm jet skiing on Saturday and I'm closing deals all week long, so like, kind of low on my priority list. Um, it turns those into, puts them into their value creation framework, right? Like, um, the like, I'm sick and tired of updating Teresa's spreadsheet every week manually with my best case, worst case, and commit forecasting. And if my like, look, man, send us your spreadsheets. We're going to ask you a couple questions. Uh, is contributing to that value that you are targeting, it makes those conversations so much easier, right? And frames the whole process not as like punch list of tasks I'm going to give you, value we are creating together instead.
Yeah. And I'm just going to hit on a couple of these slides here because I really dug deep, and this concept of the different layers of the org, like having wildly different expectations, like hit for me here. Like we've talked about in previous weeks, like as I come in that little scene, right? That might be the first time folks has seen or heard of my existence, right? And this key insight here: value creators need implementation support and obstacle removal, not oversight and performance pressure. They're already motivated to succeed, but need enablement to overcome barriers. And this oversight and performance pressure can come from both sides in terms of service providers got to get the onboarding done in 90 days. Like that's it. And you've got to follow the plan and get that specific stuff done, or else it will not be successful, or we risk the client coming back to us and saying, oh, you didn't do this, so we're not going to pay.
Right.
And lots of things like that. Or you can have an executive come in and say, why aren't we seeing results yet? Right. And that's where you can start to speak to which results they're looking for preemptively when you know when and how and if that's going to happen based on your project. And obviously we're talking about like service providers here, but this can actually translate. And I love the value path. Like I've been thinking a lot about, one of our clients is a buyer and reseller of cars. And even in those moments, I'm like, all right, maybe the value creator stage, doesn't work as well here in this B2C like format. But when you think about the let's say the traditional car dealer experience, right? And this whole rigmarole of like the dealership owner at an executive level, managers that the sales rep is always going to just go back. Let me talk to my manager, see if I can get you a better deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Or bring the manager out when they need to apply additional pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are clearly value creators. They're trying to create value. I'm sorry, that's the wrong way to think about it. From an organizational level,
right,
they have needs at these different levels. But as the buyer comes in, and if you close me on the car, and there are things that like you need to do for me, value that needs to be created so that I don't bring the car back. Right. Is it working for me as you said it would? Like you promised me free oil changes and I sign up and I can't get one right away. Like free servicing, all these kinds of like post-sales moments that when you offer like 7-day like return policies or 30, any of that, like you're not done. And if I don't feel that I have created value for myself in that moment, I might give it back. Right. And then you've lost everything that happened before then.
Like the vehicle purchase is one of the classic examples of, in the Who First framework, we talk about the 8 factors that make a purchase decision high friction. And vehicle purchases, the reason we've seen innovation in that space with, the like pick up and delivery, buy online, the 7-day return, no questions asked, is because that's a real pain, right? Like insurance registration, all of the paperwork, financing, the high pressure sales especially, stereotypically in a used car environment. And the like, we're going to put the 4 boxes in front of you instead of just like, look, if this is your credit score, here's your financing price. It's going to be no higher than this kind of thing, is because of that high friction, right? Like you may not give it back, but you're just going to be like, it's a fine car, but I'm not going back to that dealer, and they're going to call me in 24 months even, I'm not going to pick up. But the, like, you can't afford dissatisfaction like that anymore, right? And like from the customer side, it's like a great example. Like there's a used car dealer that's like, while you're doing the paperwork, they detail the car for you. Again, they do a check to make sure there aren't any paint nicks, whatever, blah blah blah, and then they pull it up into their like pickup area and put a giant bow on it for the like take your picture. And yes, they want that to be a promotional thing on social media or whatever, but they want you, I think, genuinely to feel like, yeah, this was great. I got the car I wanted. It's a really positive experience. And some people aren't going to care, and some people are, right? But like that's a great example of like figuring out, and it's probably a little bit more relatable than service provider only, of figuring out like what is mostly what's my starting point for the kind of value that people expect, right? Like there are some people like me who are like almost never going to be excited about buying a car, and it's like, we're going to put a bow on it. And I'd be like, please, I save the bow. Like, no, right? Just pull it around front. I don't care. And there's some people who love that. And that is value creation for both of those people, right? Not putting the bow on it is value creation for me. Putting the bow on it is value creation for someone else. Figuring that out for all of those levels in the org, right? As the seller is how you do it.
This is where it's fun to think about, like in the B2C scenarios, like maybe you're the individual contributor, but the wife is like the executive,
yes.
and they want the bow. They like the bow. Like now our dealership can help you. Okay. Like, even though you don't care about the bow.
You said you weren't going to bring personal aspects of my relationship into this.
Yes, I don't know that I ever promised that.
Okay. My wife would, she gets excited and wants the bow and feels passionate about things. And I feel things too, but,
just not about bows, and that's okay.
Right. Yes.
Right. But that's a good example of like, in that moment, like when you can understand there's multiple parties involved.
Yeah.
And like that's where it's like, maybe this is the first time buying a car, and you're just so stressed about the experience to just get it. Like the worst thing that can happen is like, oh God, that's done. And then you come back and then it's not done.
Yeah.
Like something is wrong, something in any of these moments where it's like, oh yeah, like the next person or the next, thing that happens, like you can add value instead of getting in the way of value, right? That when you get in the way of the value flow, when it could be so easy to not get in the way, when you do, that's how things start to go off course.
Right.
And I want to, like, we've been talking about, or I need to say, I've been thinking about, I don't know how deep we went last week, but this concept of like, now you have AI like with you, right? But what we see when like it's very easy to use AI for things that you shouldn't be using AI for.
Right.
So a big part of what I've been thinking about is how do we help understand? You have all this agent activity around you. It's never been easier to do most things, right, related to digital spaces, like
Right.
communicating via digital, right? But what are the things that the human domain expertise, like adds, and make sure we don't replace that, but the scheduling of the next call and having a pre and post like meeting reminder that makes sense
Right.
and is actually relevant and valuable. We don't need the humans spending an hour on that like
Right.
anymore, right? We need the
Yes.
hour on the call, like that's present and like
Right.
asking questions that help before and after everybody, you know, um, be put in this position where we're asking a lot because a lot is asked for. If there's 5 different stakeholders that need to be satisfied at the end of this project, you don't just get to say, all right, we've got the resources to satisfy 2 of them. Like, you just don't get to do that anymore.
Right.
And like, because they have AI on their side too, largely, and just the satisfaction and buying experience expectations have been raising for a while. But that's the part where specific industries that maybe have gotten away with that because there wasn't any recourse, and the three, 4, and 5 stakeholders are like, all right, I guess we'll just have to do another project,
Right.
to get what we need. It took
Yeah.
we're at 90 days and it's on us somehow. Like we don't have any more hours left,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Or you have the Metcalfe's law. I don't know if you know this. It's the inventor of Ethernet said the power of a network is the square of its nodes. And I think about that in terms of the complexity of relationship management in a B2B implementation scenario. Like the number of things that you have to manage is the square of the number of stakeholders, because there's some stakeholder who is going to burn all the hours with their additional requests and expansion and scope push, and they have the power and maybe paid for most of the project. And so some stakeholder is going to get burned because all the hours are gone by the time it gets to their phase. And that's, they're going to be mad at the stakeholder, but they're not going to not be upset with you, right, as the implementer in a scenario like that. Um, that's all. That's all human leverage stuff with maybe an AI assist, right? But what nobody needs is AI to create, a 200-page report about something, right? Like that's not in anybody's value
Yeah.
matrix.
And then they get like AI receives that 200-page report and then gives their own version
Right.
of the two. Like as you're saying that, like, and this is where it's dual sided, right? Like, and why businesses don't have to put up with some of the like just assuming that everybody's a customer, everybody's bought in. Here's the 90-day plan. As long as we get the 90-day plan done, everybody's going to be satisfied, and we actually don't care if they don't because we're fulfilling our scope, right?
Right.
Well, what you see happening, or what I see happening, is that the like on the client side, they will be taking those transcripts and matching them against the scope that was promised, right?
Right.
And so for them or for us, if we're doing that on the same side, like oversight of just like making sure all the boxes are checked, not necessarily value creation. Like
Right.
if in the moment of that call, uh, the stakeholder wasn't there, so it didn't make sense to talk about it, or uh, sorry, we planned on standing up sequences in HubSpot, but we decided during the process that there was a different way. Like we're going to take a key account approach, and we don't need to be automating your sales team out of the
Right.
process. And when you have this And so the juxtaposition of like oversight without support versus capability development, where you can help people understand the what and the why with documentation, the right kind of documentation, because AI can help like make a list and do a 10-page plan. It can do, all the UA test, a bunch of stuff that I've been bad at and probably still can improve on, to enable inside and outside of calls so that it doesn't feel like it either doesn't feel like such a change, or we give each other permission and accountability to understand the change was required. Like it's very clear that sequences was going to remove value that we have, like we're paying a lot of money for. We appreciate our sales team. And it's clear now that we should not do that, even if it's in the signed contract scope.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And yeah, so the tracking, the status update, the communication of all of that, hey, having an agent that keeps you internally aware and accountable on that, hey, where are we at with at the end of every meeting, or week status report, whatever, checks project against scope, and can highlight those things. And if you have a flow of work log, it can figure out oh, right, sequences were replaced with this because of reason. And so that goes into the weekly client report so that everybody is aware. The super useful for that kind of thing. And for in our skit there, the sales reps, Teresa, the sales leader, and the executive, they have more faceted value creation needs, but the the slide you had up before, where the executive's top priority of value creation was smooth handoff. I forget how it's phrased in the people. Prove enterprise value without disrupting operations, right? That disrupting operations facet is a high priority for everybody, right? Sales is I know how to work my spreadsheet. I know exactly where everything is. I built my own drop downs, and every hour of training I have to do is calls I'm not taking or making. So I need a smooth handoff here. Teresa, same thing. Teresa's comp plan is based on the team's performance and doesn't want, a whole month or quarter thrown for their goals, her goals, because they spent a week in high friction during their work, not knowing where to go, what to set, whatever. And the executive, not there for the details, needs a high level of confidence that this is going smoothly, and the right alerts when it's not, an understanding that everybody's being proactive and that people are, sounding the alarm early rather than late. There's, those are all generalities, but, we can figure these things out. And if we, again, orient it around the value we are creating for the customer and the value that each individual stakeholder needs from there, we're so much more aligned on that stuff. And if it's documented, then we can get help from AI at figuring out what we need to produce that, or where we're missing in producing that. And we can be good at relating to Teresa and figuring out look, how are we going to get what we need from the sales team? What's stopping them from sharing the files? I've emailed them all 3 times. AI can email them as many times as they want, but that's not gonna move the needle.
Yeah. And that's where everybody knows that's a thing. So if you're not ready with the right kind of resource or right kind of okay, we just need to have this 15-minute chat. You can have it or I can facilitate it, but sales clearly is not understanding of what's happening here. And I get it. Like if they're uncertain about how they're going to close the deal now, they're not moving from the spreadsheet. They're not moving from their inbox. They know that process works,
Right.
right? And here's how this call is going to go, or here's something you can share, or here's questions you can ask to see what the actual, friction is for their process, especially when you get down to like one or two and the rest of the team is like, let's go, right? They like there's resources and scripts, but also starting to tie in like transcripts of what people are actually saying. And this is where, not it takes years to like understand the words people are using and the tone that they're using them in, and like why they haven't been present and now they are present. And that's the kind of stuff like behavioral analysis and tone analysis from AI transcripts. While not perfect, if you give it the right guardrails of what people should be saying on calls, how they're like based on the project type or based on the process so far,
Right.
this is how you might expect. And then they're not, right? Because a lot of these, so much of satisfaction now is related to the experience. And if you're not catching oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know we could do that. Like that's an improved outcome. Like literally the capability was not understood. Now it is understood.
Right.
Right. And you can, again, none of this is easy in my opinion, but now you have a chance at helping others understand like, look, this is a different kind of value, like, which I'd say is a requirement now because AI makes things faster, easier. And one thing that's clearly doing is raising expectations,
Right.
like alongside of it, while not really understanding how much of the human expertise like was involved to make it happen so fast.
Yeah, for sure. And
Right.
the complicating factor there too is like any AI deliverable that's outside of your area of expertise, a 60%, which is a D grade, is indecipherable from an 80% or higher deliverable, right? Like I'm not a developer, so I don't know if Claude Code's code is good or bad. I can tell you if it works, but if that is a deliverable, like I can't judge the value of it. And so if you put some deliverable in front of a stakeholder that's outside of their area of expertise and it's expertly crafted, AI assisted or not, they can't and shouldn't be expected to tell how much better it is than something that their nephew can get out of ChatGPT, or that their spouse gets out of ChatGPT and says like, hey, here's a marketing plan or whatever, right? Like there's just no way to evaluate that for that stakeholder. And so like we need to be set up for success and set the customer up for success during this value creation stage. And some of the guardrails, you mentioned we don't have time for this and it's off topic, but like I've started creating communication profiles for stakeholders and putting them on their contact record in the CRM in HubSpot, so that Claude or HubSpot can be like, here's how Teresa likes her messages, right? Like you can listen, like ask on calls, hey, what's the best format for you for this? And if they have something, trust them. And if they don't, have some things to throw out for examples, but also ingest their communications and be like, Teresa likes to, I've had many clients like this in the past, like their emails are all 2,500 words because they want to include background and foundation. And then they get down to like So here's what I'm wondering, and it's a 2-line question, right? It's like, okay, Teresa needs clear clear foundation and wants a narrative, and somebody else, Stephen, wants bottom line up front, 5 bullets max, and then recommended action or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And getting
And so
that,
powerful,
yeah,
right? Like it's unreal. And that's the kind of thing, like if we'd have told you to make communication profiles for everybody, like before, that was not in CRMs because,
right. Yeah,
right? And
you would do
now,
a 1-day training where they're like, "Here's how I like to be communicated with," and everybody would walk away feeling like, "Yeah, we did good work here," and
right.
then nobody would ever look at those communication profiles
Yeah.
again.
Like fill out the form. Do you prefer
Right.
text,
Take
email, call?
or take
Like,
your quiz. Like you get a
right? Yeah. Meanwhile, they're telling you directly, yeah, this person, they're not into AI right now. So don't ever bring up AI.
yeah,
And when I did a profile and that came back, I was like, oh man, somewhere to highlight that like is wonderful because then you get reminded of it. Then I'd say another challenge that shows up is like, how do you make sure that's never in front of the client? Uh,
sure,
right. But yeah, the technology is here, folks. AI can help you do all of these things we're suggesting. So, well, it might, again, if you can solve for the complexity in the process and the structure by just using simple language like value creator is what needs to happen at this stage. Everybody involved in this stage, like now it's easier to start to solve for brand new things that pop up, brand new people that become involved, brand new technology that comes out. Is this going to create value for our process or not right now? Should I send this HubSpot update? Right? Like it creates this lens to now we can actually make decisions and help others make decisions and communicate the value of what's happening throughout the process so that we don't get caught off guard and can help people move down the value path. This has been fun, man. I think we're okay to move on from value
yeah,
creator
yeah.
next week.
I can't take another role play like that. So we need to move on to something.
Yeah, we'll have some fun next week talking about the adopter stage. Um, and yeah, it's been fun and hope this was valuable. And we'll see everybody next week.
Bye bye.